All right, hi everyone. Welcome to Designwings UX UI School free UX UI class. So today's session is going to be super interesting because today we're going to be looking at how designers are able to make businesses money, how designers act as resources for the business to be or assets for the business to be able to generate sales, to be able to attract more users, to be able to make sure that whatever the business is selling, whatever product or service the business is selling, they are able to kind of actually sell it through an app or software or through a website. So today we're going to check out, a lot of different principles. We're going to see, we're going to have a lot of practical stuff today, just to see how designers quickly come up with ideas to kind of make a product or service more valuable or promising to the users. At the same time, we will give you a good overview of UX and UI design as a career, as a real career path, and also show you how you can proceed with the career paths as well. So that it'll be a nice little session today for sure. So today I have with me my co-host for today. Let me just bring him up. Hi, Velmurugan, how are you?
Hi Puneet, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great, man. I can't see you. Can you like turn on your video or something?
Yes. Hi.
Hey, man. Great to see you.
Alright.
Let me just change my stuff also. I think I'm halted in place for some reason. Okay. So yeah, so my video is now fixed. This is great. And let me also bring on our slides for today, guys. Awesome. Great. So Velmurugan, I'm just going to share you a quick link so you can, go through this on your end as well. Great, guys. So let us begin. So for our first slide, I wanted to go through what is UX UI design and what is the design thinking process, because a lot of people talk about this, a lot of people, research about this. I just wanted to give you guys a good overview before we even go ahead with anything else. So the first thing that we wanted to look at is what we call as empathize, the first stage, where we are doing the research for the users. So basically conducting user research to know about the users. This is the kind of audience you want to target. So for example, if you're selling kids wear, so you're targeting parents. So this is the kind of target audience. Now I have to research on them, on what other different problems they have and what kind of clothes do they look for and have they used other services, etc. So here we are looking for stories. We are looking for actual people who have had actual problems in real life, and we create user stories through that. Okay, there's the story of this user. So the next stage that we often look at is the definition stage, where we define everything that we researched. So once you research something, you have to document it. You have to take something out of it. You have to come to a conclusion. So here we are identifying users' needs, problems, and insights from the research that we've done. Okay, so again, this is done in an orderly fashion with a certain method and process in mind. Stories, we go from stories to needs plus problems plus insights. Remember these three things: need, problems, insights. Then we have ideation phase. Here is where we have all the documentation. We have everything we need to get started with an actual idea, product idea, feature idea, software idea, whatever we are looking at. So here we're brainstorming with multiple ideas and solutions. There are a lot of processes here as well, but overall it's more of a brainstorming group activity stage where you're actually coming up with possible solutions. So again, it's very positive. We generally look at positive ideas. We're not looking at the problems anymore. We're looking at the solutions here. Now we go on to something called the prototyping stage or prototype. Design one or more ideas which can be showcased. So this is where we look at the wireframes, the UI designs, really making something out of visually out of these solutions. So when we say, hey, we can make a solution where the um, user can submit his query and we call them back. Okay, so that's a solution for a certain problem maybe. So how do we make that solution? Now we have to design that visually so that the user can use it. Um, Again, here it's more making to learn and not to launch. So prototype stage is not the last stage for sure. It is the stage where we're saying, okay, these are the parameters we have. These are the statements we have to test. These are the things we need to kind of check out from our end, and this is the kind of learning we will get from this test. So then the final test phase comes when we're testing out everything. We're saying, okay, these are our ideas, these are the visuals. Let's see whether it'll work in an actual environment with actual users, with possible testers. Beta testing, often you guys might have heard of it. Alpha and beta testing are good ways to take it out in the public before it actually kind of comes out. So that's a nice thing for sure. Do you have anything to say on this, Will Murugan? What's your opinion on the design thinking process? I can't hear you, Will. I think your audio is muted.
Yeah. Yeah. So to come up with a solution, so end of the day, we UX designers are trying to solve problems on daily basis, right? So there is a problem, and we are identifying a possible solution for it. So for the solution, we can't just like that draft a solution. So there needs to be a process, and that needs to be an effective process to find out the opt solution. So design thinking is the best way to discover the solution for any scale of problem. So from here, because this process is well defined, and we are starting with empathizing with the users. So we are collecting more data from the user. From the data, we are deriving the insight. Through the insights, we are ideating, and from the ideation, we are designing. So the solution is coming directly from the user. So this is the best way of discovering a possible or a best solution for any scale of problem. And we have simply defined it as empathy is defined, and there a lot of research. We need to go through a lot of research on each phases. So an UX designer will know about it. So how to crack it, how to get insights from the user thoughts. So everything is that. So by following this process, we can definitely come up with the best solution for any kind of problem which user is facing on day to day. Yep. Punit?
Works and what doesn't for a certain project, and if it works for a certain project, then why not do it. So at the end of the day, design thinking is just a good framework to kind of learn from and to understand, but it's often edited, changed around. Larger companies often experiment with the kind of processes they follow. In fact, they even take out their own standards often. So the design thinking process is more of a Stanford based, layout or thinking or principle, which came from Stanford. But other institutes and businesses often take out their own kind of thinking processes over time. So again, guys, you need to realize that this is never ending and ever changing field for sure. Moving on. Now, when we're talking about ever-changing fields, UX and UI designers often have this dilemma of which direction should we take, which area should we go to. So we've already spoken about the process and what it entails, but now let's talk about what roles do we follow, or what are the functions that a UX UI designer can have in an institute or organization. So the first one is definitely for sure is interaction designer. You often hear about interaction designers. Now people confuse interaction designers with motion designers, and it's a common mistake. Interaction designers often know things about motion and micro interaction for sure, because it is a part of the whole area. When some user is interacting with something, there's often motion and interaction involved. But interaction designer is someone who studies, researches, and tests out how the user is interacting with a certain product or a service, or how it can improve the interaction of a certain application. So this is more, I'd say interaction designer is more of a niche area, and they're dedicated to that area for sure. I'd say interaction designers you'd see in larger organizations as compared to smaller organizations, because smaller organizations don't have the budget often, as well as the understanding of what interaction designer is. Visual designer is someone you see all these fancy UIs and icons and stuff like that. Visual designer can often be someone who designs either the UI face of things, or focuses more on things like iconography, typography. So it's kind of a graphic designer who understands UI in a nutshell. Or someone who can design graphics for user interfaces and understands how these things work and affect a product. Product designer, again, product designer is someone who is involved in the strategy, is involved in the product, idea side of things, of management side of things, often interacts a lot with the product managers and people to kind of come up with better solutions, ideas, and is basically a more well-rounded UX designer. He knows UX and UI for sure, but often is involved in the strategizing of things, is often involved in the business side of things. So a UI designer, again, you guys already know, is someone who designs the interface, the front layer of the experience, I'd say. And he's totally dedicated towards the user interface. But UI designer has a good understanding of the overall experience as well. So UI designer is just not for looks. He understands why that look is being taken, or why a certain functionality works a certain way. So understanding is still there in all of these people till now. Motion designer is definitely someone who has an understanding of UI design, but knows motion better. So things like you guys might have seen in applications and websites, there are animations and crazy animations, or there's a complete animation. So there's a tick mark which comes when you order something. So all those things often a motion designer designs, because he understands motion, he understands principles of animation. So he might use tools like After Effects, he might use tools like Protopie, for animating things around. Oftentimes not, again, very few companies actually hire them, but the ones who hire them, there's a lot of value there. So motion designer for larger companies are definitely there. Especially even for advertising and marketing companies, you'll find motion designers designing motions for those mediums. Content designer, someone who can design or come up with great content. You might have seen on websites there's a one-liner on top. So for example, for us it was UX UI design school with job guarantee. So that was a little content that we prepared. Someone who prepares content knows how user reads something, knows what user expects from content of a website, comes up with great content, quirky, smart content. All this is done by content designers. Information architect. A lot of companies like Amazon have large databases of products and services, often categorized under thousands of categories. For such organizations, an information architect is important because he can tell you how so much information can be fit in such a way that people are able to understand things, are able to navigate between one page and the other, are able to read through things. So information architect basically creates the architecture of the website, architecture of the product, where the user understands, okay, this page has this area has this, So if you read about information architecture, that is what this guy is doing, information architect. UX designer. UX designer is often someone who understands UX research, as well as UI design in a nutshell. So he will understand a lot of this things like information architecture, UI. He will understand visuals also a little bit, but interactions, research. So he will be a well-rounded person who knows all these things, but focuses on a few of these. As you can see, UX is here is an umbrella term, and under this umbrella, there are other things like architecture and interaction design, information architecture, visual design, things like that. UX designer is more of a well-rounded person. I'd say user experience designer is very close to a product designer, except product designers has a few more tasks and roles, but very close. A UX designer can easily become a product designer with enough experience, for sure. Will Murugan, tell us about your role, and how you can affect your company's working.
So I'm a product designer, so taking care of user experience design along with the business role. So defining the business role. So how the design is going to affect the business, or the feedback from the design which directly proportionate to the business growth. So that is a blend of a product designer who understand the business and also UX design and coming with a solution where he won't compromise either on the business needs or on the user needs. So that guy is a product designer. So I'm taking care of a product design over here. So who understand both the business side and the user side of it. Uh, who balance between the both. Okay, so that there is a mild micro line there. So if we incline more towards user, there are some pieces of business we will miss out because that might be the bread and butter for the business. If we incline more towards the business, then we will miss out user experience. So we need to balance these two. So a product designer is a guy who balance between the business need and the user needs. He find out the correct point where the both merge and won't compromise on both their needs. So that's a product designer. I'm a product designer over here. So as you well said, UX designer is a guy who take care of all these things. So he will be having knowledge about interaction design, visual design, product design, UI design, motion design. But some are specializing them. If they are very good on that particular art, then they are specializing it either on interaction design or motion design. So which is a very niche stuff now. So people are more inclined towards it. If you guys are more fascinated about motion, animation, moving stuffs, then interaction and motion design will be a great choice for you. But all these guys, with the center approach or the prime goal is developing or creating user-centered product. Okay, so how we can enhance the experience through effective interaction, how
Yeah.
we can enhance the experience through motion. So the difference between interaction and motion is interaction is making the user to interact with your product. Motion is guiding your user throughout the flow. So the motion is a very good effective tool to guide your user, which do two things. One, it guides the user, and second thing is the flow itself. It will fascinate the user. User will feel that he is on a ride if motion is properly captured. So that's the one thing is which is more fascinated about motion design. If you guys are very good into animation and if you want to try more on animation, then motion design is a very good pick for you guys.
Yeah, yeah. It's motion design is very interesting. I think all of these are very interesting, and people shouldn't think, oh, this is not in demand or whatever. Everything, I think, often designers don't go into certain fields because I feel they think, oh, this is this is more in demand or this is more in demand. I feel all of these have their own space, and you'll get opportunities in all of these in whichever country you live in. So it's not country specific or whatever. So there are very few good content designers, or there are very few good motion designers. So you can always become better in those fields and be on the top there as well. So I think that's a very interesting area to be in for sure. So now let's
So
get
to
to
conclude,
huh.
sorry. So to
Yeah, go ahead.
conclude, uh, be a UX designer, and then based on your interest, you can specialize on any one of these, either interaction or visual or product or
True.
so based on your specialization, you can you see if you like that, then you can specialize on it. But UX designer, as Puneet said, it is the umbrella for all this.
Yeah.
So be a UX designer, then you
Yeah.
can specialize on it. If not, is also fine. You can go ahead with being as an UX designer. All are equally weighted and equally important for a product
True. Well
throughout
said.
the life cycle of a product.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I think a beginning should always have, there should always be a base, and then like these things kind of grow from there as well. So you can always decide your niche later on. You know. So moving on to fields and after fields and roles, let's just quickly look at when we're getting into the business of design or how design affects a business. So companies that focus. So this is a McKinsey report. If you guys aren't aware of McKinsey, McKinsey's are consultants for some of the largest companies in the world, and they consult them on business side of things, on research, on testing, and things like that. So they have come up with this little report in the past few years. So this is till 2017, but they haven't updated the report as of now, in my knowledge. But this is a very interesting report to look at. So companies that focused on UX design outperformed all the other companies. So certain companies that seem to have a good UX team and kind of focused on how to improve their designs, user experiences, etc., showed a greater rate of growth and a greater rate of sales, etc., revenues in this case, as compared to companies who focused less on UX or invested less in UX. So industry benchmarks for this, as you can see, are in gray, and this gray line kind of identifies the normal companies which generally don't go out of their way for UX. But top quartile McKinsey Design Index performers are people who performed well due to a better improvement in design, better improvement in research, things like that. So this is, in companies, when we are working as UX designers or product designers, we have a lot of metrics that we can see. Okay, our designs affected the business in this way. So if we design something and it increased sales, that is a metric. So here you can see the metric here is revenue. So there was a 10% increase in revenue for UX design focused or design focused companies as compared to less ones, and total returns of shareholders was also greater. Of course, there's great growth in revenue, so shareholders will also get money. Shareholders the shareholders in a way are stakeholders. When you say stakeholders, they are people who have an interest of any kind in a certain project. So if a stakeholder could literally be the owner of the company, or stakeholder could be someone who is working as a lead on a project or something, who has direct interest in that project. So stakeholders or shareholders in this case would also have a direct interest in what the company is doing. The company has invested a lot of money in design. The shareholders will think, oh, they're investing a lot of money here. Will it perform well, or will it do good because of this? So they are continuously thinking of these things, and as you can see, the charts show you very clearly percentage of increase for these companies. So it's out there that UX and design in general, not just UX, we're looking at all the fields of design, genuinely affect the company in a good, positive manner, especially with revenues. So today we are going to look at, we're going to do a little hands-on. We're going to have a nice discussion between Velmurugan and I as well, and we're going to do like nice visual hands-on as well for you guys. Ways businesses make money through UI design. This is just a normal line that I've written, but indirectly UI design, we're going to focus on UI because other things have research, etc. So we won't get deep into that today, but UI design is something we can show you, So there are certain areas I felt as a UI designer who's had experience myself, areas where UI designers can improve the business and the sales and revenue. So the first one is nudges. Nudges are an umbrella term for anything that nudges the user in the direction of buying something or getting something or whatever it is. So you might have seen certain apps or websites might have pop-ups. That's a nice way to nudge. or notifications. You might get a notification from Swiggy or Zomato. Aajkal they're doing a lot of these marketing campaigns, and the notifications work very well with those marketing campaigns. So nudges, anything that nudges or directs the user to buy something, or to say, hey, this is here, or hey, you can buy this, So if you go to a McDonald's, oftentimes they'll ask you, hey, do you want to make this a meal? So with the meal, you'll get this, and it's not that expensive. So they'll talk to you like that. They are nudging you in a way to get a meal instead of just a burger. So that is a nudge in a way. There are other things involved in it, but from a UI designer's perspective, it's a nudge. Then you have marketing integrations. If you go to an app, there's rarely a chance that you won't see a new product or a new some marketing going on. So even if you go to a product like Google Play or Apple, the Apple App Store, you'll find this app is performing really well, or this app has a sale, or Apple Music has a sale, or something that to promote the product, to promote sales, to promote discounts, vouchers, etc. Marketing is involved. So the marketing team is often interacting with the UI design team to say, hey, this is the content we want to display. How should we display it? You might see that on places like Amazon, there will be ads. Small ad is written, or a promoted post. All of these are certain ways, marketing integrations or advertisements, that a UI designer needs to take care of. He needs to say, okay, how do we display this? Or how do we make sure that it's in the right place? So marketing integrations are an important part. Human behavior. UI designer, even though he's not a UX researcher or UX designer in general, but he knows human behavior very well. He knows where to put something, how to create something, what colors will work well here, there, just through a human behavior point of view. So whenever we're designing anything, we think of human behavior first. How will the user use it, is what the question is. And last but not the least, something which is a challenge for the biggest of companies. It's called better checkouts. So if you go to a checkout on Amazon, you generally see it's very simple, straightforward, fast, especially on the app. Website has a few more steps, but app, you just slide like this and it places the order. So better checkout buying experiences can lead to better business because it's directly affecting the revenue. If the checkout is, imagine if the checkout had 10 steps, you would get bored. You'll say, "Arey, jao, we'll use something else." Or you might go to another alternative. Websites and apps don't want you to use their competition. They want you to use them. So if they simplify everything, they make easy. So for example, Amazon in certain countries has one-click checkout, where literally you click once and it checks out through your whatever card or whatever process they have. I'm not very aware of the process, but it's very direct. It's one-click checkout. That's why they call it one-click checkout, because it's fast. Users don't need to fill out a form. They don't need to select 10 things. One-click checkout. That is the way they are trying to make the checkout process smaller, faster, So let's do some creative hands-on activities and show you how it's done. What we'll be doing is we'll be taking a blank canvas. We'll be designing certain nudges for you guys. Just show you certain nudges that we are aware of or we've created in the past. We'll be creating showing you how some marketing material is placed these days. We'll show you how a checkout can be improved, various methods of checking out and comparing them, etc. So let's create some nudges first. Yeah, nudges में मुझे बहुत मजा आता है because nudges are literally, helping you get the point across or a message across to the user. So let me quickly open this file here. Great. So I think you guys will be able to see this empty page here. Let me just zoom in. Now what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to put a phone up here. And I'm going to share this quick with Vel Murugan so he can, always interact a little with me here. Can edit. Okay, copy link. And I'm just sending you this little link. You can always, join in on the Figma file and we can have a little hands-on with these guys. Awesome. Great. I'll just change you to can edit. Yeah, you can edit now. Awesome. So, guys, so the first nudge, very common, very commonly used is, Will Murugan, I'm sure you've also used it many times, is the ripple, is the little blinking light or ripple on a certain page, which is a very classic example of a nudge. Don't you agree?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, guys, you might have seen like a little, ripple being created on the side of a screen saying, "Hey, your registration process is still left," or one more step till you get this. So there's such interesting ways to kind of. Uh, this ripple is often used when, say, there's a new feature being introduced or the user hasn't registered completely. Um, this you will see on a lot of banking websites, on a lot of fintech websites. So there'll be a little ripple moving, like blinking like this, saying one more step to go, or one more step, one more step to win a prize or something like that. Whatever the message is, certain messages can easily be, you know, passed on with a nudge. So a nudge will only help the user to see the message faster. It's not doing anything else except helping the message get across faster. In UI design, oftentimes the things we want, this is, I think, a design principle also, where things which are bigger or brighter or stand out on the screen often are viewed first, or the user's eyes go to that point. So wherever this nudge is, or wherever this message you guys want to put the nudges, the nudge will help the user to see this and will differentiate it from the entire page. It will say, "Hey, I'm here." How we go out in the public and we spot our friend and we wave to him, "Hey, I'm here." So it's literally, kind of saying, "Hey, I'm here" on the
It's
screen.
it's the same. It's the same. Puneet.
Yeah,
Okay. So as we are more attracted to motion,
yeah,
so in a screen everything else will be static, and one is dynamic, which is constantly moving. That will catch our first attention
yeah,
as a user.
exactly.
So exactly what you said. So if there are 100 people, if one guy waves his hand, our attention directs towards him. That's the
Yeah,
same concept we are applying it over.
yeah, exactly. And it's so fun that, as UX
Yeah,
or UI designers, we can always take examples from the real world. From the real world, there's so much to learn from as designers also.
correct, correct, correct.
So this
Yeah,
is one of those guys, real world kind of examples that we've given you. Another nudge, except for the motions and the blinking and the movement, I feel is um, a little model views, or little uh, not so intrusive pop-ups, modern day pop-ups. So earlier pop-ups used to be in your face. So I wouldn't categorize that as a nudge, because I feel it's a straight up in your face,
blockage.
yeah, blockage, yeah, to the
It's a
real
blockage.
content.
Yeah, it's a blockage.
But nowadays, guys, you might see little pop-ups appear at the bottom of the screen. Just slide in a little bit and say, "Oh, this message is whatever the message is basically." So you might find a little pop-up from the bottom. We often call it either a model or a pop-up is fine for the term. But when it comes to this, it's less intrusive. It's not getting in your way, and it's acting as a nudge, equally as much as any motion or little blinking light or whatever. Again, models can either be used for forms or for checkouts and stuff like that, but can often be used to portray a message. A very good example of this is on Android. There's a little something called Toast. If you've ever worked with material design, guys, you will know what a toast is. A toast is a little notification pop up at the bottom, often accompanied with a little message or an icon. So it might say, you have 2 notifications, or your system, there's 10% battery left, or whatever the message is. There's a little toast at the bottom which kind of comes up or pops up a little bit to kind of take your attention to that. So this is again a little nudge to kind of showcase some message or notification, and this can be very helpful to the user as well, to identify certain issues. Can be used to display problems or issues, errors, etc. So error messages with a little nudge means the user is you're identifying a problem to the user, which is very good. User gets more confident. Okay, this is why it's not working, or oh, there's this error. If the internet is not working, you can tell him the internet is not working. So that kind of way, you're nudging him to say, oh, internet has stopped working, fix it first. So again, nudge is often should be followed up with an action. That's the aim, you know. Wilmungan, what other examples of nudges can you think of? So we have this little toast or pop-up. We have animations in motion to kind of nudge people. What else?
So, okay, nudge. Okay, so if you want to get into a little detail towards it, so nudge is something we are pushing the user to do something.
Yeah.
Okay, which is more towards driving more businesses to us. That is the reason for that. So uh, we can use a toast also as a nudge. Toast, actually, toasts are used to give feedback to the user,
Yeah.
but the same way we can use the toast as a nudge. We can use some sort of pop-ups, as we discussed, inline pop-up as a nudge, and we can use a straight away blocked pop-up also as a nudge.
Yeah.
Nudge is something we are asking or pushing the user to do something. For example, in YouTube's nowadays, nudges are coming, and which is blocking our whole top section and asking us to sign up for the 3-month free premium plan
Yeah.
or 1-month plan. So
Yeah.
that is a nudge. So that is a completely blocking nudge to the user.
Yeah.
So end of the day, so for the businesses, we need our users to convert as a customer, right? For that, in some cases, we will be very rude to block his thing also.
Yeah.
That is also an edge, and that is more useful for business and also for the user. Let's say if there is a in Spotify there is a nudge. So even when you listen to Spotify also, audio nudge will come in. Audio nudge will say that you will get you are getting a family plan for this price,
Yeah.
and this is running on discount. That audio nudge is also there. So no
Yeah.
design, but audio nudge is there, where UX content writer will play a role over there.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Near
And
nudges and audio.
yeah, I think this is very common these days, blocking someone's experience or making the experience purposely worse so that the user buys something to make it easier, A very classy problem or a very classy situation of creating a problem and then finding a solution on your own, you know. Very commonly seen with companies like Apple. They might remove the headphone jack and tell you to buy wireless earphones now. So
Wireless experts.
yeah, so it's
So, but for a UX designer, we need to be very careful because we can't use these kind of blocking nudge at the first instance.
yeah,
Okay, so we need to allow the user to experience the product. They need to understand the value proposition what we are giving in the product. Then we need to push him to purchase it. So now we are all well aware of what YouTube is, and we can't live a life without YouTube.
yeah,
Now, if YouTube is blocking us to do something, we know the value, and now we can turn to be as a customer, and we will be more likely to pay that 150 rupees or 300 rupees per month. As like if you listen to Spotify, the blocking nudges won't come in the first place. So it will allow us to experience the product for some time.
yeah,
Once they understand the value proposition, then we can use this blocking nudges. Till then, we need to have very subtle, non-intrusive nudges to the user. So first thing,
true.
user needs to explore our product. They need to if it is a more consumer-centric product, they need to fall in love with our product. Then only we can push these nudges.
I think a good example of this would be oftentimes when you go to, say, a travel website or a travel app, they nudge you to log in and register, but they don't force you to log in and register.
Correct.
Just so
Continue
that
as
you
it
can,
is.
just so that you can see their content, you can see what services they provide. before you log in or register. And they might say you'll have to log in and register when you're checking out or things like that. Just because that is acting as a nudge rather than a perpetual part of the interface or perpetual part of the user's flow. You know, uh, where he can decide what he's doing, but is nudged to log in and register later. You know, that could be an interesting example. I've just
Yeah, it's,
created something here on screen. It's called unlock this article. A lot of times when you look at certain articles on Medium, they might be paid articles, but they let you read a little bit, and then at the end they say unlock this article for this. You know, um, so this is a way of nudging, as Velumurugan very rightly said, that nudge can act as a little blockage also, and which is in a good way for the business, because the business requires people to buy their products and buy their subscriptions, etc. So that will be an interesting way to nudge also, is to nudge by creating a certain blockage, or by showing them a better the right direction on saying, okay, this is, you have to do this and then you'll get this. So that is an interesting, yeah, very interesting analogy for sure. So guys, I think we've worked on three kinds of nudges. One is one can act as a nudge, but is not always taken as a nudge. One more step to win the prize, again, the nudge with animations, motion, etc. And one is the nudge is nudging the user to subscribe or to register based on the process. So you have this as well. So we worked on three nudges. I would love to work on one marketing piece. What marketing areas we can have. So the most common one is just to have a basic ad in between, say, the entire the page. So it could be a bunch of articles, and in between it might say, get 3 months of premium free. So you can say, get 3 months premium free. And you can have a little ad here, and give a little button here to kind of activate this thing here. But again, this is just this is more of an internal marketing, and it's done as an upsell of the it's basically called upsell or cross sell, based on the reason you're selling it for. But upselling is literally selling your own product inside your own product, so it's product in a product. So again, as I said earlier, McDonald's person will try and upsell a McDonald's meal instead of just a burger. So here also, instead of just using their free app, the nudge again acts as a nudge also, but uh, using using the UI or the actual application as a marketing tool. So this is one of the most common ones you'll see of, as earlier Velmurugan also stated, on Spotify. There's get get premium on just rupees 30 a month or whatever it is. So you'll get these ones as well. One which I've really liked these days, I'm sure Velmurugan, even you've experienced, on Zomato and Swiggy, there are little video ads on the corner, floating kind of boxes on the corner, which
yeah.
pop up like this. And they're literally showing you either a new product or some sale or whatever it is. And it's acting as a way for the user to view something in an interesting manner. It's no longer just a static ad anymore. It's more an interactive, open this kind of ad.
Animated,
Yeah,
and some sort of celebration sort of mode will go there,
yeah,
because they want the users to, they want the grab user attention so
yeah,
quickly. And this also, if you see, this won't block user flow, but this will come as a surprise to you. So some sort of surprise is unlocked. They will create that sort of emotion towards it. So users are more likely to click and explore the way how it's presented, the copy, what it
yeah.
goes in, and the offering. Everything will be more of celebration mode.
Mm.
So that users are more fascinated to click on it.
Yeah. And
And you can this sort of advertisement are properly handled in Swiggy, Zomato on those products. And most of the newspapers or the magazine websites, they are using the same to bother the user as well. So those contents are not that great, but
yeah,
uh, So it works both on the positive side and the negative side. The positive or negative based on the creative, the copy, and the offering what we are giving it to them. So
Mm.
it's a cool way of
Yeah,
nudge
it's
and another
cool, it's
model.
animated, it's
Yeah,
not in your face, and it generates a little bit of curiosity in the user because it's
correct,
very
correct.
different also from the entire interface. It's standing out, and it's
Okay,
there's some video or something playing in it, so people want to often view a video, you know. So
correct.
it's a great way to kind of get marketing material across or get ads across, etc. And yeah, Zomato and Swiggy, I think, are the best examples for this.
Best examples,
Yeah,
yes.
because they've really utilized this very well, especially Swiggy. They do it a lot these days. So yeah, I think this is one of the marketing. Another great way of marketing, again, is notifications, banner notifications outside the application. So, guys, a lot of people think the experience is only inside the app, but now with modern day technology and phones, etc., we get to play outside also. So we often have, these notifications popping up inside Android, iOS both, and with what product it's coming from. So it's from Swiggy. It'll have a little Swiggy icon on top so that you can identify it. But apart from that, they will always have this very interesting line. Things like balle balle or something, like they'll just have one-liners, interesting one-liners where they're able to kind of make you more curious about it. Balle balle. Um, New sale is on, or whatever it is, you know on Punjabi food, whatever it is, and their content designers are very good with this, and they can really kind of spark interest in users. So again, marketing is there to spark interest always. You're making the user say, "Oh, this is an interesting product. Maybe I can buy it. Let's check it out." So that's the kind of message you want to push across. Oftentimes, they might even use some controversial stuff. Things like, "We are breaking up. Uh, we are we are breaking up dot 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 with high prices," or whatever it is. They'll use something controversial, something quirky and snazzy, which gets the attention from the users, whatever it takes. So I think notifications is a great part of the overall user interface and experience, to kind of bring marketing material and stuff like that, notifications across. Also acts as a nudge, you know so I think notifications are fun also, especially if the
Yeah.
content is interesting and crispy. Yeah, some
So
days,
most of the time we tend to dismiss the notification, but these kind of well written quirky notification, always we are tend to click and explore it what it is.
yeah,
So and
content
again,
team
even
is,
if it is controversial, then definitely it's a click.
yeah.
Okay.
And guys, UI design is not just visuals and everything, it's also the content. Content is a big part of the interface, because without a good content, without good quirky lines, fun expressions, etc., the overall experiences diminishes. And when we say we want to create delight, oftentimes you can create delight just by writing good, funny, or quirky content. Brings a smile to everyone's face. So I think that's a good part of UI. A lot of people don't think of every day. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Awesome. So I think that we'll what we'll do is next thing we'll do is really quick. Um, we'll go to our website real quick just to introduce all of you guys to what we offer at Designwings. And whoever watches this after it goes public, after the live has ended, you can even watch it or look at it and check it out later. So designwings.in is, let me see if you guys can even see it. You can't see it. Let me just change the page here. So Chrome, yeah, awesome. So Designwings right here is a design school with a job guarantee, which ensures that we have prepared you completely for a job. Not only that, our teams assist you in getting internships, opportunities, jobs, interviews, etc. All of this good stuff after you've ended the program. So you can apply real quick. There's a batch in June, 11th June, starting 11th June. Not a lot of days left, 12, 13 days left. We offer the top of mentors. Of course, Vail Murugan will be your mentor for the batch. Practical classes, placement guarantees, virtual and online. So this is from your house, from your home, laptop in hand, you can easily access it. Made in India, of course, everything is made in India. We're soon going to try and shift all our websites, everything, to Indian-based companies so that we can truly say everything is made in India. Dedicated 24/7 mentors. So all our mentors are available through our Telegram channels, and you can always ask them queries, etc., and they will respond to you. And you can obviously talk to all the other students as well. And of course, portfolio building, that's required. So we've had some really good companies come to us and ask for our students, and it's a lot of fun. You can even view the full curriculum on our website. You can see some of our student reviews, some really good students who've recently graduated also, and see some text reviews also here. We're adding more as we go. Each batch finishes, we add 2 to 3 new reviews at least. The best ones. You can see some of our portfolios that we've posted. Our mentors are from these amazing companies. Vail Murugan currently is with Geo, and he's doing a really good job there. You have all the features, and you can study about our placement and everything from our website. So again, we are one of the more affordable ones in India currently. All the other ones are generally more expensive, but you can take a decision once you've looked through our demos. There are other demos you can check out on our YouTube, or on our website. We also have some demos available. So make sure you go through all of this, and for any queries, whenever you guys are wanting to join, you can join from the website, and our team will get back to you on all your queries and everything that you want to ask for. So awesome. Then guys, thank you for joining in. Thank you, Vail Murugan, for being such a great co-host.
Thank you.
And guys, whatever issues you have, you can always communicate to us at help@Designwings if you have any issues or queries, etc. And we'll try to conclude those queries as soon as possible. Thank you, Vail Murugan, for joining. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend ahead. To you too also, Vail Murugan. And I will
Thank you.
see you all in the new batches. Awesome.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Take care.